All right, welcome to the Let It Fly show. I am Michael Severe, joined by Josh Jones, Creighton fame, and of course, Omaha Central as well. We are inside the Let It Fly Sports Bar in the Capital District. Elevated experience for you with the TVs, food, and everything.
Man, you know that's my favorite right there, man.
So today, we tape is Thursday.
Yep.
It's Thursday. Every Thursday, the special is steak and fries. Simple. You know what this is? This is Nebraska.
Yes.
Meat, potato.
Yeah.
Period. There ain't
you.
nothing green on there.
Nope. And I'm
there ain't
cool
none
with
of that.
I'm
None
cool
of
with
that.
You ain't got to spice that up. You ain't got to put nothing extra on there.
What I like about this is I'm a rare guy. I don't know how you eat your steaks.
Medium.
I'm a my God, that is like I eat mine rare. This is not rare. This is medium rare.
That's medium
this
rare.
This is not rare. This is
Michael,
more to
go
medium.
out there, catch the cow, kill the cow, and he eat it right there.
I'm gonna say it this way, and don't think it's rude. Slap that bitch. If it stopped mooing, then you can feed me. The great thing about it is my wife loves it the same way.
I feel you.
That is very tender, man. That is tender.
Who put who on the what? Did you put her on the rare steaks?
First time we went out, we came here, and that would have been 1998. I came here for the Louisiana Tech game. I was working in Louisiana still.
Yeah.
And she took me out to, it was either Angie's or Cassio's, one of those places. And we go to order, and the lady, how you want your steak?
Wait, how was that done?
That's closer to medium than it is medium rare.
Word.
That's closer to medium.
Okay.
And I said, at the same time, we both go, as rare as we can get it. We said it at the same time. And we're like, I'm sweet.
I'm in love.
I mean, bloody. I like mine bloody. That's the way I've always liked it. But this is the special on Thursdays. So if you come to Thursdays, get the steak and fries. It's outstanding. It's seasoned well. It's very tender.
Yep.
You never know when you're talking like sirloin or New York strip. Yep. It can go back and forth. That's, you know what that means? Marinated or something like that. They did very well. As always, lots to go on here. This place gets so packed. I know it was packed for Monday for the national championship game.
Sure.
I know when those cheating, lying, horrible Michigan Wolverines won a national championship. I know people were in here, all excited.
Hey, Jalen Rose had a nice tweet where he
What did Jalen say?
He said something on the lines of like, all y'all saying that we cheating, we don't want y'all now.
We don't. Hey, look. All I gotta say, I said this the night of it. Once they revoke this championship when the NCAA does it, I'm gonna be like,
I told you.
Nice job. Only thing I would, it was a great victory for Michigan. It took care of business.
It was.
I would say I would love to see what happens
if
in the fourth quarter, it's 2013, and Washington makes that throw down the near sideline, and they call the holding. And if you go back and look, I know what it looks like. What happened was he used the man's momentum against him and pushed him. It made it like he pulled him. If they don't call that, I just want to see what happens if it gets to 2020. Because, everybody starts playing differently when it's even, opposed to being behind.
Play with the differences of urgency.
But we'll never know that. And Michigan wins their first title. Outright title, not split, since 1948.
So they've been splitting every other time.
They split. 97 was the only other. My own line was always, they have not won a full title since integration. Now they have. Now they've won.
I look at the quarterback for Washington. I felt like
Michael Penix.
Yeah, I think that it seems like all year his line did a great job of protecting him.
They won a Joe Moore Award. Yeah.
I think that Michigan's defense was so elite that he just wasn't comfortable.
He had a lot of opportunities to make plays. Now, sometimes the great thing about football is, no matter what you think you know, if you're not in the huddle or in the locker room, you don't know. So I think on the long throw that people were making, saying he missed the throw, I think the wide receiver took it inside when he should have been working away from the safety.
On the outside.
And so he should have been on the outside. So I think the throw was where it's supposed to be.
But their quarterback, he put it right in the hand.
He gets blamed, so many times. And quarterbacks will get blamed for what happens to the offensive line at times. They get blamed what the running back's doing.
Right.
There were a lot of plays that were left out on the field.
For sure.
And you play the game 10 times, maybe one team wins 3, one wins 7. I don't know. I know this. Next year, 12-team playoff, it's going to be crazy. Because by the time you get to that game, guys have been playing since the last week of August.
So we're going to have a real outright champion.
All the way into the January, middle of it's going to be interesting.
No doubt.
If you want to win tickets.
How many extra games is that, though?
2 extra games.
All right, okay.
My bad. So what happens is the top 4 have a bye.
Yep.
And then the remaining 12 8 have the first games, which are going to be at home. So that's 4 games at home. Then you go to what would be your quarterfinal, semifinal, final. If you want to win tickets to go see Creighton play, go to eatplaygame.com and enter. You can win tickets for, as of this taping, the next 2 games after the one on St. John's on Saturday. Xavier on the 23rd. and DePaul in the 27th. So
the pink out.
The pink out game, which is always amazing. So eatplaygame.com. Go there. You have a chance to win.
Yeah.
Also want to tell you about what's happening this weekend. Saturday, you got NFL played. Yep. You got Browns and Texans, and then Chiefs and Dolphins.
Hey, they let my guy go.
Who?
Damn. I don't know why I just flipped. Two things happened. Obviously, and you probably already teed up to talk about it. Obviously, Nick Saban retired.
Yep.
Somebody else got Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll is going to stay in the organization, and I was going to get to this a little bit later. But
so he owns some. What's buddy from Boston name that was coaching for a minute, and now he in the front office. He was at Butler's coach.
Oh yeah, sure. He was
I can't think of his name.
Yeah, he was the head basketball coach
at Celtics.
At Butler.
Then he went to
the Celtics, and now he's in the not Mark.
It's gonna come to me.
I see him.
I'm about to Google it.
I see him.
No disrespect.
So
man,
in that situation, they're gonna keep Pete Carroll. Means so much to the Seattle Seahawks organization.
So was it
makes
time
sense
to go?
I think anytime you're in your 70s, no offense again to people, I'm not being ageist, but I think if you coach a team more than 5 years, if you've coached a team and you're in your 70s, I think they need a new message. Look, he's won 7 or 8 games every year. Yep. He's gotten to 2 Super Bowls.
Brad Stevens.
Thank you. He's been very good over the course of his career, but eventually you get to a point where, Nick Saban reaching that point.
For sure.
Bill Belichick reaching that point.
I feel like...
And he didn't go 4-12 like Bill Belichick, 4-13.
Belichick,
New England Patriots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Retired?
Oh yeah, today was the news conference. They're letting him go. It's not retired. They're letting him go.
Yeah.
He's going to probably go coach someplace else.
So, this is what I think about Pete Carroll. Nick Saban.
Yeah.
I think NIL affects a lot of coaches.
See, I would understand that if it was a different school. He doesn't have to worry about NIL at all.
Oh, you're right.
He doesn't.
You're right.
The one thing he's got to worry about is the transfer portal is different, obviously, than it was before. Mm-hmm. And maybe that would be annoying because you used to have a point where you had a designated recruiting period. Mm-hmm. Now you have one recruiting period, a second one, and now you have these portal recruiting periods too. And maybe that got to him. But in terms of the NIL at this point, that's all handled by the money people at Alabama.
It wasn't even a sunset write-off, though. It's like...
No, I mean, they lose in the semifinals. Here's the interesting thing about it is you want to talk about how good these guys are.
Yeah.
If you add in the national championship games and you add in the Super Bowls, right? And you go back 25 years, literally a third of those games were coached by one of these guys. Pete Carroll had the 2 national championship games back to 04 and 05.
Right.
Obviously, you had 10 Super Bowls or 9 Super Bowls that the Patriots were in, winning 6 of them. Yeah. And then you got Pete Carroll going to those 2. I mean, that's a lot of championships and championship games.
My thing about Pete Carroll, I was in Phoenix at that time. Long story of how I actually missed going to the Super Bowl game, had tickets. Mm-hmm. We was on Camelback Mountain.
The one against New England?
Yeah. Another story. Mm-hmm. But that's like one that I learned that game that the NFL, you got a certain window.
Sure, you do.
And I feel like, do you think from your perspective that him calling that call was trying to make make Russell Wilson a hero? I mean, Beast Mode got him all the way to that.
Let me tell you this. This is the fact. You can look this up. They had the exact same situation 6 times that season and ran the ball, and 5 of those times did not convert. Did not convert.
So it's a
so he in his head he was thinking, we've been in this situation before and we've not converted. We've got to throw the ball. I don't believe it was trying to pump up or make Russ look better, any of that stuff. And I know that some of the team were talking about that. It was simple numbers. Who played that well was Bill Belichick, who did not call a timeout. Mm-hmm. He let the clock go. So I believe Seattle thought, we're going to have time to decide this because obviously New England's going to call a timeout because they want to save time to go back the other way. Bill Belichick said, no, we're not calling a timeout. You make the play. You make the play. Right. And I think the pressure on them making the play rushed their call. I think that's what ended up happening.
All right, I like that. I like that. And then also, obviously, Nick Saban is the greatest college football coach of all time.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost impossible to say that.
Who's close?
Well, Tom Osborne. There's 3 guys.
Ooh, okay.
There's 3 guys essentially that you can look at and go winning percentage, championships, and longevity.
Yep.
And it's Saban, what he's done with 7, I believe.
Yep, 7.
You've got 3 for Osborne and 2 that when he was the offensive coordinator, if you want to count that or whatever.
I count that.
And then so you got that and over 700 winning percentage, or like 75% winning percentage, so .750. And then the other one would be Alabama's Bear Bryant.
Okay.
Those are three really of the guys you can say with the amount of championships they had, the amount of wins they had, and the longevity. It's kind of hard, but I think Saban's number one just because of the fact that he also did it in a tougher era.
He did.
No offense to when Tom Osborne did it, but you had to win. Tom had to win one big game during the regular season.
Right.
He needed to beat Oklahoma for part of that time, right?
Right.
And then, of course, he needed to go and need to win the championship.
Yeah.
You're talking about a guy now that's got to go through the SEC West. He's got to go to the SEC championship game most years, and then now go win 2 games.
It's kind of like the Jordan LeBron thing. So it's kind of like people try to say that LeBron had a harder path to be who he is, and Jordan played against lesser competition. But I argue that Michael Jordan was that much better than everybody. So
no, I agree.
Maybe Tom Osborne's teams was that much better than everybody,
yeah.
And Nick Saban just had a harder era competition.
They had more, and they had advantage of being ahead, whether it be strength and conditioning, the way they used the walk-on program,
right.
The way they recruited nationally. They had an advantage on a lot of people and all got caught up.
Yep.
But when you look at what Nick Saban has done, and again, I know he's won some championships where he had a loss. You remember those 3 championships that were won by the 94, 95, and 97 by the Huskers. They didn't lose a game.
No.
They didn't lose a game, but they didn't have to play, obviously, play the extra game in the college ball playoff and that kind of thing.
Exactly.
I mentioned Saturday, Creighton playing St. John's. That's at noon.
One. Bro, don't sleep on that game.
I would not.
I keep telling people.
At noon, I'll be awake.
It's because of who's coaching the game.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. It's not about nothing more than who's coaching versus who.
Yeah.
Coach Mack, a great coach. Coach Pitino, same caliber, same energy to his program. That's why they're doing as good as they're doing.
We interviewed Pitino once. This is years ago. Matter of fact, we were doing a live show next to Zesto's near Rosenblatt.
Word.
Near Rosenblatt.
Okay,
doing Rosenblatt. So we were doing a live show, and whatever reason we set up this interview with Rick Pitino, and we're talking to him, and he was so laid back. He reminds you of that guy who's sitting at the little table outside the cafe or the meat store. He's like a mob man. Yeah. He was so laid back. We were cracking up the things he was saying. Yeah. Sunday, more NFL games. Steelers, Bills, Packers, Cowboys, Rams, Lions. Yeah. And then Creighton women are playing as well on Villanova. And then Monday night, you're going to have, again, the final game of Super Wildcard Weekend here as well. I have a trivia question for you.
Okay.
Now, you may have listened to me when we recorded the interview with Baylor Scheierman, so you'll know the answer to this. This season, how many times has Baylor Scheierman failed to get to double digits?
Oh, man. Not wasting any time on it. I would say twice.
Just the once. Last Saturday. That was the first time. He had 9 points against Providence.
Why did I say twice?
All the other games, double digits.
Yeah. Okay.
And it just shows you. And he's going to be our guest this week. That's why I brought it up.
He's consistent, bro.
He's very consistent in what he's playing. Let's do some local headlines.
Is he leading the Big East in scoring?
Well, he's leading the Creighton with 18.8. I don't know if it's the whole Big East now. He's leading Creighton for sure. So Nebraska basketball beats Purdue. That's your big local story.
Hey, I watched that game over Creighton basketball. Obviously, because they played DePaul too.
I had both TVs up.
Hey, I did. I had my computer and
I had both TVs up.
I had my TV up and I had my contour on my computer.
You had to pull up Peacock.
Yeah.
And you had to have the YouTube TV on this TV.
But the thing is, like, how you say Tominaga's first name?
Kisei Tominaga.
Listen, bro. He is a Nebraska legend.
Oh, he is. There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
There's no
when he is on. I love the. Remember when they made the first Fantastic Four movie, the first one they made. There's this scene where Bobby is standing in Human Torch. He's standing and then he goes whoosh, whoosh, and he just fires up. That's what Tominaga does occasionally.
Man, he took a 3 and he kind of faded.
Yeah.
I said that's the one.
The last 4 minutes of the first half, because sometimes if you get enough confidence, that's all you need. So the last 4 minutes, Tominaga hit 2 threes. Hoiberg hit a 3, had a steal, and this crazy circuit layup, and all of a sudden it goes from they're down 2 to they're up 11 at halftime. Right. Now I know you have a hole in the second half, but they were so confident.
I was happy about Hoiberg hitting that 3 because I'll be looking at his career like, man, he got an opportunity where he can probably go. Like, if he want to go hoop somewhere, he can probably go play.
He can go to Japan.
Somewhere.
He can go to Japan and make tons of money.
I just feel like when he reflects on his Nebraska basketball career, this is going to be the game he remembers.
Yeah, maybe. Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, this has happened. Last time this happened was 82.
82, bro.
82.
That was lit. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like, that made me proud. I was cheering for him.
And let's give shouts out to Rink Mass as well. He's going against Zach Eddy.
Yep.
He gave him some problems. He only got 15 points on the day, and Rink Mass got his 18.
Right.
And Sam Hoiberg was kind of like the other guy making plays.
What was it? What was up? I think Nebraska was hot more than Purdue being off.
I think Vegas told you everything you need to know about this game. You're talking about the number 1 team versus like the number 64 team
65.
in the Ken Palm, and the line was just 7.5.
Gosh.
First of all, they respect Nebraska playing at home, and I think they respected the chance of them getting hot. And when you get Wilcher shooting that way, when Tominaga's shooting that way, when Mike Mass is shooting that way, they'll give you trouble.
What's their record in the Big Ten?
End of when it's over?
Yeah.
So they play, I believe, 22 games.
Because I'm game by game with them.
I'm gonna go.
I
don't know, maybe 13-9.
I said
maybe?
the same thing, bro.
Where they're sitting now, maybe 13-9.
I was saying about 13.
If they keep playing the way they're playing. I mean, obviously the loss to Wisconsin was tough. They never were in that.
Right.
But they beat Michigan State already. The loss to Minnesota was tough because of the way they played that. But I mean, getting a win like this over Purdue, they should be motivated.
Right.
The other local headline: Nebraska in the portal.
Yep.
There were certain points they had to go do, right? Certain things they had to do. They needed wide receiver help, veteran wide receiver help. Yep. They needed another running back, I thought. I don't know if they needed a starter, but they needed a running back. And I thought they needed interior line help. They went and did all of that. They bring in 2 wide receivers, both with lots of experience. Jamal Banks, was with Wake Forest. This guy started 44 games in his career.
Dang.
He's played 44 games, started 10.
Yeah.
This in 2023, he had a great year. 57 receptions, 653 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's got over 100 catches in his career. Perfect. And not little, 6'3", 205.
Dang.
The other guy they brought in, Isaiah Nair, 6'3", 205.
Right.
So 2 good-sized guys. Nair is one of those guys that you feel for him because he played at Wyoming. His second year at Wyoming, he had a breakout year. So he's I'm going to transfer. I'm going to go to Texas.
Right.
Gets to Texas, tears his ACL. Then comes back the next year and thinks, okay, I'm ready to go, has a big spring game, gets hurt again.
Yeah.
So this is a guy who's kind of been out for 2 years now, coming back to Nebraska, but he has made, certainly, he's done some things in his career to give you at least the thought that he could do well.
Have you heard of a high school kid named Mikey Grow?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So 2 hands.
Check this out.
Yeah.
So my neighbor's, I want to say brother or sister's son is him. He moved back to the city. Yeah. Back in Omaha. And
he was at Bellevue East.
Right.
At one point, yeah.
And now I'm thinking about it like, how many ambidextrous quarterbacks are there active right now?
I've never seen one besides him. I mean, everybody can probably do some stuff with their left but I've never seen anybody be able to throw kind of equally with that. I watched him play in high school, and he's a talented kid.
Yeah. Okay.
But I wouldn't say that not at this level. If he was going to, I would look at him playing at like a FCS level. That's where I think of him.
The only reason why I mentioned him because you mentioned Texas. Yeah. Because it was just on my mind like that's where he came back from. I mean, sometimes kids be late bloomers, but I know you know about.
I just think that sometimes his dad supported him. Everybody supported him. He did everything he could do. He was searching for a spot. I just don't think he has that level of talent to be playing at the Big Ten level. I think he's more of an FCS kid, but
I got you.
You never know. Sometimes
I have no opinion. I just know you know about everybody.
Yeah. Well, so one of my good friends, a Saints fan, his daughter went to Bellevue East and knew him pretty well.
Before he left.
And now she dates the starting quarterback for Bellevue East. And so I've watched Mikey play and everything.
Okay.
Running back, Dante Dowell, he comes in from Oregon. They kind of did him wrong because Oregon did because he played in 6 games.
Yeah.
But only had like 9 carries. So they burned his red shirt and never really used him well, which is tough.
Teams do that?
They are so deep, they probably thought to themselves, we don't need him for 4 years. And he's a big dude. He's 6'1", 208. He's a big-looking guy.
6'1", 208.
He's a big-looking guy. 17 carries, by the way, for Oregon. So it's something that Nebraska needs, a pounder, somebody who's real physical. Yeah. So now you have Gabe Ervin.
Yeah.
Now you have this kid.
He kind of remind me of like a Corey Ross energy.
Yeah, but bigger. Like, Corey's 5'6.5".
Yeah, right.
On a good day.
Yeah. But he's a power runner.
Yeah, he was. Pork Chop was a power runner. Yeah. He's a little bit like Gabe Ervin in a way. Yeah. More straight line guy. And then you have Ramir Johnson coming back. Yeah. You have Emmett Johnson coming back. And you have who am I leaving? I'm leaving out one of running backs. Is that right? Emmett and Gabe Ervin. Oh, and the kid who didn't play much, Quentin Ives.
Now,
so you got a room. Chart? You got a room.
You just basically named the
I think that it's going to be between Gabe Ervin and this Dowdell guy for the starter.
Yep.
Then I think Ramir, if he's healthy, is going to be kind of your third down guy. Emmett Johnson fills in. I don't know where Quentin Ives fits.
Okay.
And then the other thing is they got Micah Mazuka, who played both at Florida and before that played at Baylor. And got another more than 40 starts at offensive guard. and they're bringing him in, I think he walks in and starts right away.
Got to.
But I do wonder a little bit. So he transferred from Baylor to Florida. That happens like in December. Mm-hmm. By March, he was ready to transfer again. Not happy where he was in Florida.
I was about to say.
But he changed his mind, and he stayed, and he started like 11, 12 games and played well. But that's kind of weird that he would want to leave so quickly.
It just kind of seems like to me that it's not a talent thing. It's a program systematic.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was a situation where he didn't like the way they handled stuff. But he stayed, though. He stuck it out.
You know who
he stayed.
In basketball who that remind me of, not to this exaggerated degree because of him, but Teddy Allen was good.
Teddy Allen was really good.
And everywhere he went, he was good.
Yeah.
He didn't like his situations where he was at.
You have to be able to get in where you fit in. He's the opposite of that.
He fit everywhere.
He fit.
He just never got in.
He never said, I'm going to get in. I'm just going to be doing one. And then last local headline, it's Jay's 3-game winning streak. Three teams they probably should have beat, especially with Providence because they lost their best player a couple days before. And now they have this stretch coming up, and we'll talk about it with Baylor Scheierman. You have a stretch coming up where you have the top 3 teams, all 4-1 in the Big East with St. John's, UConn, and Seton Hall. So now we'll learn more about this team.
But I think that like the DePaul game really, you know how some games is like confidence builders?
Yeah.
That wasn't one.
No.
I think that like
they just outclassed DePaul. Yeah.
Like this Saturday.
And the Georgetown too, they outclassed them.
I feel like this Saturday game coming up. It's going to be another game that's going to be very physical, and it's going to be very close. And there's a chance that it might not even be a down-to-the-wire game. I think that Creighton could potentially lose by single digits. You know? Or they can
Let me tell you what the line's going to be.
Single digits.
The line is going to be, where's St. John's? They're way down here. St. John's is sitting at 16.4. And Creighton's at 23.1, and with home, Creighton could be favored by as much as 9.
Okay.
They could be favored as much as 9, but I think you're right. St. John's is going to give them a game, and they're going to make you work. So if they're hitting their shots, that's how it'll work. Well, out of those 3 games, is that the one that concerns you the most, or is it UConn?
Well, UConn is
because you got to go there.
UConn, I'm definitely concerned. Going to UConn is a different conversation just because, 1, you got to go there, and 2, they play at a high level regardless, even regardless of a loss. I just think St. John's is a slept-on team.
Sure, I got it.
And I think with them playing for what they playing for first,
you
know, like that's great and all. But I think in Creighton's sense, like it's not really favorable because St. John's is going to play with a chip like we are who they mark us as.
I think they're both 12-4.
Yeah.
Creighton has played a little bit tougher schedule
they have.
Than St. John's. St. John's is 143 in terms of schedule, and Creighton is sitting at 71.
And obviously it's all opinion, but from what we've seen when it comes to like physicality, those are the games that it's something about that it's like the Big East plays physical, especially in the paint, but not like the Mountain West where they're being physical and hand checking.
I thought UNLV physical the hell out of them, and scored like at will inside too.
And I think St. John's has that energy.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well, we'll talk more about that with our guest who just recently got his 500th assist at Creighton.
That's tight.
Got a little plaque. That was pretty cool. And he's leading the team in scoring as well. Coming up next, Baylor Scheierman.
I forgot the sausage. You guys ready to eat?
Welcome back to the Let It Fly show. Our guest this week is a former guest host of the show. He's also
we started off like that, right?
2018 C1 state champs, football quarterback, and a pretty good basketball player too. Baylor Scheierman joining us. What's up, man?
Not much. How are you guys?
Good. I told you always be a quarterback to me, man, because that's the first time I saw you play. It wasn't on a basketball court. It was playing football.
Play football
he put up like 500 yards, man. I was like, this dude should be at Nebraska. And, whatever happened from there, but it doesn't matter. How you been? How's the season going?
It's going well. Obviously, we're on a 3-game win streak right now, which is good. Started off conference play 0-2, and to get back to 3-2, is good, especially in this league where there's a lot of great teams. I mean, St. John's coming to town Saturday, and they're leading the league right now. So, feel pretty good about where we're at.
Next 3 teams you play are all leading, all tied for the lead.
They leading the league, bro.
4-1, 4-1, 4-1. Next 3 games: St. John's, UConn, and Seton Hall.
This
is the spot right here.
Yes, sir.
Hey, let's go back to the Villanova game. to me, like,
you want to bring up bad stuff?
Nah, it ain't even about that, man. It's like I ain't seen you in a minute. Why
you want to bring up bad stuff?
Like, speaking of that game, first of all, it was a dope night. Doug got his joint. That was crazy for my team. But, like, for you, I felt like that particular game, like, I don't know. I ain't going to say you wasn't letting it come to you or not, but I feel like it was one of the games where I felt like you one of the players where if you off, like caulk is caulk, but I think as a guard, if you off, dynamics of the team kind of changed a lot. What would kind of take me back to that game? Like, what was going through with you? Was it just a bad shooting night, or what do you think for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just a bad shooting night from three necessarily. I mean, I think I shot 50% from two, but Villanova does a really good job of taking away the three-point line, and a lot of my three-point looks were pretty heavily contested shots. And like you said, I didn't shoot the ball well, and I don't think me and Trey both kind of didn't shoot the ball well that night. And when both of us are off, it's tough for us to win. But credit to Villanova. I mean, we were up 12 or 14 points in the second half, and they climbed back in the game. So that's something we're trying to emphasize right now is, when we get up on teams, not letting them back in the game and really trying to put the finishing touches on them and kind of cut them out early.
You obviously want to step on their throat. Those are two big games early on still with a new point guard and a new guy at the four. How much do you think was that still learning each other, especially in late games?
Yeah, I mean, it's always, a learning process. And like you said, early in conference play, conference play is a lot different than non-conference.
Different animal.
And people, don't necessarily realize that. And it's definitely an adjustment, especially with some new pieces around. But I think we're doing a good job, especially now, kind of figuring out what we need to do.
What about, like, this stigma of if the team's not shooting good, your team is not one of the greatest that get it back defensively, scraps in a scrappy type of way. Kind of speak to your team's defense or whatever. I know you guys play without fouling or whatever, but like I just want to kind of hear your perspective on like your defensive scenarios like that when y'all not shooting as well.
Yeah, well, I think we can still win games when we don't shoot it well. I mean, we're still one of the top 20 defense, top 10, 15 defenses in the country. Yeah, KenPom. So it's not like our defense is bad by any means. I think the one game, like Colorado State, we scored 48 points. I don't think you're going to beat anybody scoring 48 points. But we've had games this year where we necessarily haven't scored it a bunch, but in one, I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Well, the UNLV game was just strange, man. Yeah, the way they got inside so much. I think the Providence game is a good example because you only got 9 in that game, and it wasn't like you guys were on fire, but you still won by 10, 9?
10. 10 or 9, something like that. Yeah, I mean, the UNLV game was weird. I'm not going to lie. I hate Vegas. So
Vegas and Mountain West teams.
I hate Vegas.
I guess my energy is more so like looking for like certain validations. Like since, like I said, we haven't got to chop it up in a minute, but like from Villanova all the way up to now, just certain things that I've seen from different games, whether it's a win or a loss, just hearing your perspective on it. So another situation is kind of like the physicality part.
Yeah.
Have your team had the conversation about like if a team just gets physical with you, they got a better chance of beating y'all?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't necessarily had a conversation like that. I think, it's so weird. We were talking about this the other day, but just like game to game, the game is called completely different, because like you said, Providence, it was dang near a football game. We had practice the next day, and I was joking with some of the coaches. I said, I feel like I'm back in high school after a football game the way I feel right now, and then the DePaul game, they called it super tight. You know what I mean? And I feel like if they would have called the Providence game like that, we would have been shooting a lot of free throws. So it's something that, we talk about that like game to game, we don't know necessarily, we're going to have to adjust how the game's called. I think that obviously, Providence was kind of like Mike said, we didn't necessarily shoot it great. Only had 9 points, and it was kind of mugged up game, but we found a way to win. So I think there's ways for this team to win in multiple facets.
Baylor Scheierman joining us here on the Let It Fly show. I want to go back to the offseason because you didn't put your toe in the water NBA-wise, knowing you wanted to come back. But I want to go back to when you were getting some of the evaluations from the NBA and things they wanted you to improve. Do you feel you have been able to do some of those things?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think, I've become a better shooter, even if my percentages don't necessarily reflect that. I think that my ability to get my shot off quicker is not even close to the same as when I came in. And I feel like my body has taken great strides at the weight room, and then also my defense as well. And those are like the big areas that they were talking about when I was going through the draft process, and I feel like I've improved on those at my time at Creighton.
How much defensively you guarding the 4s and the 3s? A little like starting with the Nebraska game, that was impressive. Like I knew you had it in you, but I didn't know they was gonna put you on them. But like, how much is that in the back of your mind as far as your different your defensive efforts as you try to build your resume as a pro?
Yeah, well, I think being a professional is just doing anything you can to be able to get on the floor. And if that means I have to, like you said, guard the 5 at Nebraska, then I'll guard the 5 at Nebraska. If I got to guard the 2 against Providence, I'll guard it. Like, I'm never going to back down from a challenge, and I feel like I can compete at any level that I'm at. So that's kind of just my mindset.
I'm not going to call it swagger because the word's overused, but go back to that Nebraska game. And you were on fire, and you know those fans all know you, and then there's the whole girlfriend aspect of it. You were enjoying that a whole lot.
But Nebraska
kids. You talk about enjoying that against the hometown team?
No, it was a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, they beat us last year, which that sucked. And then on top of it, it's Nebraska, and I'm from Nebraska. I had a lot of people in the stands. Obviously, my girlfriend played for Nebraska, and that was a big thing too. And I'd never won in Pinnacle Bank Arena in high school. I lost in state semis every single year there. So that was another factor too. And I just I just wanted to put on a show, and
no doubt.
And obviously it's a good win for us. At home they just beat Purdue at home, so it was a lot of fun.
It's really helping there in net. What Nebraska's doing. Did you? I don't. The years always get confused. Was that? Did you guys lose to Winnebago? Who did you lose to in the semifinals?
Okay,
so they had that one year.
My freshman year we lost to Scotts Bluff.
Okay,
my Drew Cuxhausen was there, and then my sophomore year we lost to Scotts Bluff again.
Okay,
junior year we lost to Bennington.
Oh, okay,
and then my senior year we lost to Roncalli in double overtime.
Damn,
crazy.
Pisses me off.
You never forget the losses, man. You never forget. You never forget the losses.
The Roncalli one my senior year. We should have won the game. Like, we had it won in both overtimes. So it was tough,
man. So what about you play a team like DePaul? You're about to play a team like St. John's. During a game like DePaul, how do you guys get better in games like that? Like, knowing that you're going to win a game like that, how do you scheme that?
Well, I think you just have to come with the mindset that you do every other game. I don't think you can change your mindset necessarily based on who you're playing. And like Coach Mack said in the locker room before the game, road wins are hard to come by in the Big East regardless of who you're playing. And so we knew we were going to have to be locked in and just trying to play how we play on both ends of the floor and be sharp. And I think we really did that in DePaul.
I'm adopted, so I know what it's like to walk into a family that's already established. Talk about Stephen Ashworth and how he's done assimilating his way into a family that was already there for the most part.
Yeah, well, I've obviously kind of been in his ear a little bit just because I kind of went through the same process last year, with coming to a team that had a lot of guys coming back. And, my main thing to him was just stay with the process, stay process-oriented, because he's obviously a phenomenal player, and he brings a lot to the team other than just shooting. And, it's easy to get caught up with your shooting numbers, and if you're not shooting it great, and obviously, in the world of social media, he's got everybody on his head when he doesn't play well.
Comparing him to the
last guy. Yeah. So I just, we have full confidence in him, and I tell him that, and just stay process oriented. And, he had he's a big reason why we won the game at Providence, hit that big shot to kind of seal the deal. So I'm proud of the strides he's made, and he's only getting better.
What about you guys extend the bench a little bit? You got
Isaac
Trout, Fred King, Farabello right now as your 8.
And then Josiah eventually.
Eventually. Well, Josiah's there, but like with I knowing Coach Mackey plays a short bench.
Yeah.
How do you guys correlate to those extra reserves like Josiah, even Jonathan Lawson? Like, how do you integrate those guys to kind of stay ready so you don't got to get ready type energy?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they're just great teammates overall, and they understand their role, and they're ready when their name's called. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we're not asking them to come in and do too much. Just come in. Yeah. Do the game plan that we practice all week on defense, and then on offense, they know how to play. They can space the floor and shoot it, and so just be a basketball player. It's not like anything over assimilating. So I think them just being the people they are, the teammates they are. It's not necessarily we have something we have to really talk about, to be completely honest with you.
I respect that,
and I get that. But so you have a guy like Isaac Trout.
But you know why I'm asking?
Yeah, no, and look at Isaac Trout. going from playing 18, 19 minutes to all of a sudden playing like 4 or 5 minutes. That's got to be – you're going to need him eventually. How do you make sure guys like that stay involved, stay committed so that they when you need them, they're there?
Yeah, well, I think it starts in practice. You know, he's getting a lot of reps in practice, especially with us, and staying comfortable. And the chemistry with him on the court with us is still there because in practice, you know, he's getting a lot of reps with us. So even though he's not necessarily playing a lot right now, on practice floor he is, and that's keeping that chemistry there even so when he does get in the game, it's not like it's fresh to him.
Yeah, I asked that because as you talk about, you know, Twitter fingers, you know, there's a lot of people out there that talk about Steven. I'm like, I mean, like even myself, I mean, I think that Josiah is good enough to play, but I don't know. I'm not in the locker room anymore, so I don't know about your game plan and what you're talking about. So I'm just asking the question just on perspective of people saying like, hey, throw some minutes in there for Josiah or stuff like that. So I just wanted to kind of hear your perspective, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Josiah's going to be a good player, obviously. He's a talented player. I think people don't realize the jump from high school to college and the actual difficult it is to adjust there. And Josiah's done a great job, but I mean, Steven has played a lot of college basketball, a lot of minutes, and there's just certain situations that you know you don't necessarily just put a freshman who hasn't played a lot when you have the veteran guy there. And I feel like ultimately, I feel like Steven has played well this year. I don't know if he's necessarily obviously shot it as well as we're accustomed to seeing, especially last year. But it's hard coming in with a new system with guys who already know how to play, and you don't necessarily know where your shots are coming from. Kind of like what I went through last year.
And Bello.
I
mean, he this year he coming off just catching and shooting. Last year he was thinking about
it.
Yeah, I was a little 100%. Frustrated with
I mean,
that.
And I'd say the same thing for me too from last year to this year. Just the comfortability I have with my role and what I'm expected, what the coaches expect, where my shots are coming from. I mean, those thoughts just aren't there this year, and obviously I'm playing all right. So
he's only 3 of his last 9 recently, but there was a point where Mason Miller was shooting like at 70-something%. Can you talk about how he's developed his game? How he's getting 20, 25 minutes as a starter now? How do you think about him?
Yeah, I mean, he's made great strides. I mean, we always knew Mason was a knockdown shooter, but I think his body has come a long ways and still has a ways to go, but he's done a tremendous job working on that. And then he's making a lot of hustle plays, especially on the offensive rebounding glass that are big for us as well. So he's finding ways to impact the game. Obviously, he's not like a high volume guy. He's a great space the floor player, and obviously you can't leave him like you said he was shooting.
He don't shoot that regardless.
Regardless, and he knocks it down at a high clip. So
now it's 53% for the season. That's pretty good.
He's one of those guys that I feel like he's the most consistent on your team. You know what you're going to get out of him. He played the same regardless, and it's never really a drop off. Either he's making it or not, but he is going to get a rebound. You know, he does his job. You know. And speaking about jobs, like y'all got a job against St. John's coming up Saturday, as we're taping this on the Thursday. One, I mean, personally, I knew Rick Pitino would do what he did. Personally. 2, how do you see from them having 11 new guys, a coach obviously to that caliber of what he is, and the challenge that you think it might bring upon y'all Saturday at home?
Yeah, well, obviously they have kind of a new team, but they've come together really nicely, and they're starting to hit their stride very well. I mean, like we talked about before, they're leading the conference right now, and obviously, you know, Rick Pitino, a Hall of Fame coach, and he's done a great job of getting those guys to play together and play hard, and that's what they do. That they play really hard. You know, they press a lot. They get after you, so it's going to be a fun game, a fun atmosphere, and you know we're going to have to come ready to play because they're going to come ready to play.
Yeah, so. Watching the tape, I know they spread it out and they get a lot of drive dish stuff. How do you counter that when you know a lot of times the guys aren't initiating their offense? They're trying to initiate to get you to move just so they can get to the open shot.
Well, I think a lot of it, you know, help defense being in the gaps, jumping to the ball when it's passed, because like you said, they're really trying to get you out of position so they can drive and get driving angles, and so being in the gaps, showing strength, as Coach Miller says all the time, so they don't just see a wide open lane to drive is key, especially for our defense playing anybody.
Talk about Farabello a little bit. He's been playing the point guard some. I didn't know until
that's his true position.
That's
his true position. That's his natural position.
I didn't know that at first. So obviously it's nothing for him to just step up if he has to in that aspect. Do you think that that is kind of making him a better player? Like, I feel like he's been like facilitating more than he's actually used to with the ball in his hands, just going downhill.
Yeah, I mean, that's his natural position. I mean, at TCU, that's what he played, was point guard, and in high school, that's what he played. And obviously transferring here, we hadn't asked him to do that a lot.
Right.
But this year, kind of with different rotations, he's asked to kind of play that role a little bit, and I think he's done a great job. I mean, he's one of those guys that, you look at the stats sheet and you're not necessarily blown away by what he's producing, but what he brings to the team on the floor, just his knowledge and his knowledge of how to play the game the right way is really big for us, and especially when he's at the one spot initiating the offense. And I mean, he's averaging 5, 3, and 2 on 50% shooting. So
crazy.
He's not like people.
He's a glue guy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Baylor Scheierman joining us here on Let It Fly show. So you're a graduate student currently?
No.
You're still trying to get your degree?
Yeah.
You're not done yet? No. I thought you were done. So you're majoring in communication still?
Yeah.
Right? You still in school?
Yeah.
So what do you?
I transferred and everything got screwed up.
Oh man! So tell us what's your day like academically at this point?
Well, this semester I got one class, Tuesday and Thursday.
I remember
which how it should be. It's my 10th semester in school.
Yeah, you've been in school for a while.
Yeah, forever. So yeah, I just got one class Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Is it like ballroom dancing? What is
I wish it was. No, it's like I don't even know, communication and community.
Communication and community. It's like
I'm trying to think if I took that. No, I didn't take that. You
take that one?
Yeah, no.
You take history of jazz?
No.
Man, you got to take history of jazz, man.
I'd rather take that than this one.
I bet.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
Sure.
I can imagine.
No disrespect to the teachers.
No, teachers probably awesome. Yeah.
No, the teachers chill.
They're probably awesome.
He's chill. The teachers chill.
He's cool.
It's
just the class. Yeah.
So I got a question for you. What about speaking about the NBA? At this point in your game, what have you been trying to add? Like, I know you've gotten better in areas, but what particularly are you trying to develop better and add to your game that you didn't have last year?
Honestly, I haven't really added anything to my game because, I think especially if we're talking about the next level, my role at the next level is going to be to space the floor, be able to catch and shoot, which I feel like I can do that at a high level, and then rebound. And I feel like I do that at a high level, right?
Yeah, that's who you are.
So yeah, that's who I am. I think the cool thing for me, at least with this team this year, is I've kind of been able to get back to a little bit of the role I had at South Dakota State, being on ball, be a little bit more of a facilitator, which
you were at your best there.
Yeah, so that's kind of been fun to kind of get back into the groove of doing that more. On and off a little bit, obviously with Trey and Steven, they're great. So just when it presents themselves, but that's been fun to have that opportunity.
When Joel was covering the team, he talked about wanting to see him do more of that. Yeah. That was one of the big things. I believe the kids call it in my bag right now. I was a huge One Tree Hill fan.
Oh, it's great.
And I understand you are also a One Tree Hill fan. Yeah. First of all, let me ask you, will you watch it if they reboot it? Because they're having a conversation about rebooting it right now.
What do you mean rebooting it?
Like starting it over, like having new people in the same characters, like a reboot, like bringing it back. Would you be cool with that?
I don't know.
Would you be cool with them bringing the same people back in their adult lives and continuing the conversation?
That would be.
I like reboot.
Would you like that?
I don't know if I like reboot.
No,
like the
really?
characters,
they do a lot of reboots now,
The characters is what makes it like
I feel you.
So elite, and I don't know about the reboot.
Are you team Brooke? Are you team Haley? Are you team Peyton?
I'm team Brooke.
Brooke?
Yeah.
I kind of like Haley a little bit because she was quiet, and then by the end, like season 9, I was like, oh damn,
yeah,
she grew up. Yeah. Who looked better as a basketball player for real, Nathan or Lucas?
Nathan.
It's not even a question.
No,
Lucas worst looking basketball player of all time.
Horrible, like horrible.
You know,
really bad.
You know Kenny Bell, right? He played for Nebraska.
Yeah.
So Kenny Bell's dad was an advisor on those thing, teaching him how to play basketball. Actually, yeah.
Oh,
that's nuts.
Bro.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah,
he's so bad.
Yeah,
like I saw something like there was a One Tree Hill reunion, and they were back, right? And I was watching like the highlights, and you can just tell that like Lucas had no idea.
No idea how to play basketball. How to even dribble the ball.
Yeah,
it was like, what do you pick somebody who can play if that's the main character?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Last thing for me in terms of One Tree Hill, can you sing the theme song?
Yeah.
Like on command.
Yeah, but I'm not going to.
You give us some bars?
No, I'll tell you it. I don't want to be.
I don't want to be.
I know it.
I went to go see Gavin at Stir.
Yeah.
We saw him at Stir. Mm-hmm. This young singer lady was there before him. She was really good too. But he's not bad. He's actually
he's got a few good songs.
Yeah, he's not bad.
He's got a few good songs.
That's my One Tree Hill stuff.
Yeah.
Respect, bro.
Hey, look, they had an episode where a dude was getting a heart transplant, and they dropped the heart on the floor, and the dog in the emergency room grabbed it and ran outside and ate it.
First of all,
and he lived, by the way. He's never had the heart transplant. He walked in the ocean and he came out all right. It was very weird. It's a crazy show, man. It's a crazy show.
It's a great show.
It was a great show.
I watched it like 4 times.
Are you serious? I've watched it twice.
Damn, I watched it
4 times. I don't have that much time. That's why you graduated.
That's why you ever seen a show that you already binge watching? You're like, God, I really want to watch it again.
You did One Tree Hill 4 times.
I watched One Tree Hill like 4 times. Outer Banks, I've seen like
I've never seen
5
Outer Banks.
times.
I've heard it's wild.
Yeah, it's good.
I haven't seen that.
High School Musical, I've watched like 30 times.
I ain't seen that, bro.
When I was growing up, I watched the movie Bring It On.
Oh yeah.
I've seen that a bunch of times.
15 times.
Yeah. We just my kids, so they're high schoolers, so they haven't watched a lot of stuff, and so we're going back and rewatching some stuff. And we watched. This is horrible. We watched Schindler's List. Because we went to the World War II Museum, and I was telling them about Arthur Schindler.
Where's that at?
I'm like, his movie in New Orleans.
Word.
Yeah, and I was telling them about it, and they go, well, let's watch the movie. Oh, my, that was a bad decision. That movie is so, well, obviously it's sad and depressing. It's about the Nazi Holocaust. Yeah. And as we're watching, the kids are like, we made a bad choice. I'm like, so we turned it off, and we ended up watching Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was still about the Nazis, but it was different. It was different. It was like, we do what we gotta do. We go back and watch a lot of stuff like that. Don't Schindler's List. Just let it sit there on the counter. Don't watch it. Don't worry. It's hard, man. It's hard on you. What have you heard any stories ever about Josh Jones? Has anybody been come through and be like, hey, you should have known this about Josh?
No.
Nothing?
No
stories about him at all? Nothing?
That's good. That's a good thing, because if you ask Coach Mack why he around, depending on who's around, he might say a joke, or he might keep it real.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, we was chopping it up before. Just talking about the apples and oranges of really the I guess moral of the story. Mac has evolved, right? Like, you don't yell as much, go about things a little bit different. Yeah. I mean, plus you got better players. No shade to my teams,
right?
But yeah, no, Mac.
Well, I think it's really hard overall, and I am not saying anything bad about this generation at all. But you have a different mindset than even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? We weren't locked on these 10 years ago even. There's a lot of stuff that you go through, and there were things you could say to a person that you cannot say now as a coach.
Yeah.
And you got old parents, though.
Yeah, and I kind of grew up in that setting.
Yeah, I can tell when I met your parents.
Yeah, I kind of grew up in that setting, so I like to think that I'm not that way.
No, you're not.
You know what I mean? I think,
that's probably why I talk to you the most.
Yeah, but you're definitely right. Especially I have a younger brother who's a junior in high school.
Yeah. Different,
and it's like their mindsets. Like it's just totally different. It's not even the same.
Yeah, sometimes I'll say something. And I'm like, damn, I'm an old person.
Now,
I should have said that.
I'm not going to go too deep, but that's how the conversation started with
okay.
Kruger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how it was. I was like, what? Like, I'm just like him. Yeah. You know? That's funny.
Before we let you go, everybody always sets goals in their mind.
Yeah.
When you have a situation where you're that close to a national championship, was it the ultimate goal? You're saying if we don't win a national or get to a Final Four, it's not a success?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you necessarily say that. I mean, the beauty is in the process of the season. Obviously, our ultimate goal is to make it to the Final Four, and if we don't make it, it's gonna be heartbreaking because all the work we put in. But I think just the beauty of college athletics is just the whole season. Obviously college basketball is a long season, and we spend a lot of time together from June all the way to April, and so obviously if we don't make it, we're going to be disappointed, and that's going to be heartbreaking. That's our ultimate goal, but there's going to be a lot of memories made in the process.
So this team and the experiences that y'all went through getting to that point in the Elite Eight, you got some experience. Can you look at this team and say we're good enough to get right back there?
Yeah, 100%.
Respect.
Because you obviously have different players, but everybody still feels kind of the same role. You're still playing
confident.
The same game.
Yes, absolutely.
That's cool. Bill, we appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
Baylor Scheierman. Welcome back. Thanks to Baylor Scheierman for sitting in with us. I personally think, and he doesn't like to hear this, that's why I didn't say it when he was here, I think it's the haircut. I think it's made him a little quicker. I think he's got a little more vertical because he got less hair on his head. I think that's what it is, man.
Yeah, he not riding the wave of the hype. You know, sometimes you be balling and then you get fans.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
he blocking them now.
Yeah, things can't go to your. Yeah, you can't let it go to your head. You know, that's speaking earlier about Nick Saban.
Yeah,
he used to always talk about don't do the rat poison. The rat poison is people saying how good you are or how bad you are. Sure. He goes, you can't, because if you get too upset about playing poorly because of what they're saying, you're not going to play any better. If you get too excited about how good you're playing because they're saying you're playing good, you're not going to be any better.
Right.
You got to stop with the rat poison and just every game, every practice.
Coach Mack is good at trying to keep the guys grounded.
Sure.
Trying to keep them consistent on like, stay here.
Right.
So, like, I just feel like with a game like this, I know they're not sleeping on St. John's.
Right.
I'm so much of a fan of the Big East Conference, man, because anybody can lose.
Yeah. Right.
Everybody be playing hard.
Right now, I believe, in terms of the net, I think they have 7 teams or 6 teams in the top 30, and the Big 12, I believe, has like 10.
Man.
I think that's right. In the top 30. So those are your top 2 conferences. Right, and then I believe the Big 10's all the way down ranked 4th.
Man.
In terms of them. But yeah, so you got UConn, right? Yeah. And you have Creighton.
Yep.
And you have Marquette.
Yep.
And you have Villanova. And you have, so that's 4 in the Ken Palm. But in terms of the net, there's more in there. But it really is those 3 conferences, really.
Creighton has to shoot it well to win this game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because, you know, sometimes you can play bad, shoot it bad, and still win.
Providence was kind of like that.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't play great. They didn't cover the 10.5.
But Providence, I personally feel like they had a better shot to win if their best player is down and their guard starts stepping up, shooting shots.
Xavier, he was
this
killing
is my team now.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So if he hadn't took a few ill-advised shots, they would have had a better chance to win.
That happens sometimes when you have an injury. Everybody plays better that first game back.
Yes.
Then you got to worry about the second game.
Yeah, so I'm not like overly concerned, like, oh man, but like I try to tell people St. John's is St. John's.
Coming up next week on the show, the plan is to have former Nebraska quarterback Adrian Martinez.
That'd be tight.
I believe he'll be our guest next week.
He in the city. I couldn't believe somebody told me that.
You know, he's interning over at Nebraska in the business department.
Okay.
And he's doing some radio stuff and that kind of thing around here. But also he got signed to that new UFL, which is the combination of the USFL and the XFL.
Yeah.
He got signed to that, so we'll see how he's doing. But hopefully we'll have him on next week. I want to thank Baylor Scheierman, Creighton guard, for coming on with us.
Thanks, bro.
Val Elvis for running stuff, punching the show, all that stuff.
Holding it down.
Meg the Maven, she was here earlier as well. Got some pictures of the food for us and got some pictures overall. We appreciate her as well being all a part of this. Reminder, as always, executive producer Phil McClain as well. Don't forget about him.
Thank you, Phil.
I almost forgot. For setting everything up, we appreciate that. As a reminder, it's never a bad time to either give or get Omaha Steaks.
Especially on these Thursdays where it's steak special.
No doubt.
Steak and fries.
No doubt. 100%. Delicious. I mentioned this before. New customers, 30% off their first order and free shipping if your order is over $149. If you're looking to send something to your father-in-law because, you know, he don't like you.
Yeah.
Or
right.
Or something like that.
Right.
Send him some Omaha Steaks. Maybe he'll like you.
He will.
Or like you a little.
He will.
Dislike you a little less.
Right.
Either way.
He'll think about you at least while eating.
Yeah, but this is good steak. He ain't that bad of a guy. Again, so get on there, go to omahasteaks.com and check out everything and all the specials they have as well.
Yep.
Take us away, Josh.
Hey, Josh Jones here with my man Michael Severe. You know how we do it. It's a Let It Fly show.